Good evening from Dixon-Dahl Stadium, where tonight we bring you a marquee 5A playoff matchup between the Bishop Miege Stags and the defending 5A state champion Tigers of Blue Valley High, right here on 810varsity.com. Steve Eisenberg along with Mike Smith. Mike, a rematch here of a game back in September that Blue Valley won 24-21, and we're going to see some real playmakers on both sides of the ball tonight.
Yeah, but as you mentioned, they played in the regular season earlier this year. Bishop Miege falling by a field goal actually here at Bishop Miege High School. Plenty of playmakers in that contest. Justin Folks, the running back for Blue Valley, had 31 carries for 261 yards, so that's going to be a key for the Stags to key on tonight. They're going to want to stop that running game. Kyle Zimmerman had a couple touchdown passes to his favorite wide receiver, Sean Skaggs, as well. On the Bishop Miege side, you had Montel Cozart, the junior quarterback. He's been electric all season. He's been able to get it done through the air and on his feet, with his feet. 263 yards and 3 TD passes in that game against the Tigers. To 3 different receivers. His main guy, Trey Parmalee, has over 1,000 yards this season. He's going to be targeting, Parmalee quite a bit probably tonight. You also had the tight end, Adam Novak, and then the running back, Quanzi Johnson.
Yeah, definitely some playmakers for both teams here this evening as the captains head to midfield for the coin toss. These two schools also met in the playoffs last year in the first round, with Blue Valley winning an exciting matchup 35-34 en route to that state championship. So the Tigers win the toss and defer. So the Stags in the red jerseys will receive, as we're now just moments away from kickoff.
It was a low-scoring affair in the first half of the first contest in the regular season. Bishop Miege took a 7-3 advantage going into halftime. Then plenty of the points came in the second half. 21 scored by the Tigers of Blue Valley in that third quarter. That gave them the ultimate lead, enough to get them the victory. But Bishop Miege didn't fall. They fought hard in the fourth quarter and scored a couple touchdowns to get back within a field goal, but then falling by that field goal ultimately.
We'll see what the pace of the game is like tonight. Certainly a lot of points being scored by both of these schools the last few weeks. Actually, the top 2 scoring offenses and the top 2 scoring defenses in the EKL this year. The thrill of a touchdown, the excitement of a successful pass, all combined to remind us that state football championship games are only moments away. Sponsored by the Kansas State High School Activities Association. State championship playoffs beginning November 1st and concluding with the final games November 26th. Attend the games, support your team, join the crowd during the final weeks of Kansas high school football beginning November 1st. For more information, call the Kansas State High School Activities Association, 785-273-5329. And we're underway from Dixon-Dahl Stadium. Deep kick into the end zone. McKinley Johnson fielding it halfway deep in the end zone, and it'll be a touchback to start for Montel Cozart and the Stags offense. Cozart on the season, in the regular season, completing 137 of 210 passes, 65% for just over 2,000 yards, 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Also doing some damage on the ground as he backs into shotgun formation with 4 wide receivers to the right.
They like to use that 4 wide receiver clump a lot this season.
Cozart stepping up in the pocket, collapses around him, dives forward for about 1.5 yards. But good coverage down the field by the Tigers defense, forcing Cozart to tuck it and look for space up the middle, and there wasn't much there.
The Stags do run a designed quarterback draw out of that 4 wide receiver set, but that one didn't look like exactly a designed one there because Cozart looked like he was trying to fire downfield.
2nd and 8 for the Stags. Again in the shotgun, Cozart. 2 wide receivers each side. He's going to keep it himself, looking for space left side. Has room across the 30. First down run for Montel Cozart. Give him the 31-yard line. Gain of 9. And the first down of the game as they move the chains.
Kozart, dual threat type of guy. He's got the speed that he can bust a few big runs off. He had a 70-some yard touchdown run earlier this season, over 500 yards rushing. He ran at 100 yards coming in tonight's contest, so definitely a threat for the Tigers of Blue Valley West to watch out for Kozart's feet.
Johnson in motion, right to left, high snap. Kozart brings it down. He's going to keep it again. Cuts to the left across the 30 to the 35. Another first down. Kozart into the secondary across midfield. Big gainer. Give him 20 yards. They'll mark him just shy of midfield. So a 19-yard run and another first down. Just over a minute into the game. And the Stags move the chains again.
A good offensive line play thus far by the Stags as well, opening some holes for Kozart.
Absolutely, as the secondary has obviously well covered the receivers of the Stags. Kozart has found some lanes to run in so far. Bad snap, though, here, and Kozart can only dive on it back at the 40-yard line. So a big loss there on first down. But the junior Kozart wisely jumping on it just to secure possession, but it means a second and long. A loss of 10 on the play.
Yeah, both of these teams can ill afford, obviously, turnovers in tonight's contest. It might be the key to the game. I mean, whoever gets a turnover maybe can come out with a score. Bishop Miege had a fumble in the first game, and it was returned for a touchdown by the Tigers, so maybe that might come into play here tonight.
3 wide receivers to the left, 2 to the right, and it's Trey Parmalee in motion to the left side. Kozart designed run, nowhere to go. Loss of a yard on the play. And it'll be third and very long for the Stags. That time nowhere to run. As opposed to those first few plays where Kozart seemed to be running out of necessity rather than out of design. This time the play was called for Kozart and there was nothing there. So third and 20 from the Stags 39. High formation behind Kozart. Dropping back to pass, throwing it left side. Parmalee reaches out but can't pull it in. And the Tigers get the stop. So after 2 first downs, the drive stalls. And the Stags will punt. With 8:54 to play here in the first quarter.
Steve, as you mentioned, both teams are top offenses in the EKL, but also top defenses as well. So we'll see, which one gives way here tonight.
High wobbly punt down the right side. Tigers back away from it, and it takes a Blue Valley bounce back across the 40-yard line. It'll be spotted at the 42, so just a 19-yard punt. And the Tigers' first possession will start from there.
A little disappointing there. Russell Gray usually has had some pretty good punts this season, averaging about 34 yards a punt, I believe. So not a good way there to set up his defense on the first offensive drive for the Tigers.
And here comes the Tigers' offense with Kyle Zimmerman and Justin Fulks. Pistol formation. They look back to the sideline before this first down snap. Zimmerman to throw on first down. Sheds a defender, looking deep right side. Has a man wide open. Skaggs, touchdown! Tigers on top, 6-0. 57-yard touchdown from the senior Zimmerman to the senior Sean Skaggs. And just like that, the Tigers are on the board with an early lead. 8:33 to play in the first quarter. Zimmerman knew that's where he wanted to go. He had to sidestep the pass rush. But once he had time to throw, his receiver was clear of the defender by several yards. And Zimmerman put it right on the money. Point after by Johnson is up and good. And with 8:33 to play in the first quarter, it's Blue Valley 7, Bishop Miege nothing.
An impressive play there by the Tigers. I mean, they struck quickly and probably in a way that Bishop Miege didn't expect because they run the ball very effectively. Obviously, Folks had 200-some yards in the first game, so they didn't expect maybe a big pass play coming by Zimmerman.
You mentioned at the outset the big night that Folks had when these two squads met back in September, but they went to the air early, and Zimmerman makes him pay. Tigers on top 7-0. So we'll see how the Stags respond after that quick strike. Another deep kick and another touchback, almost the exact same spot where Johnson fielded it to start the game. And for the second straight drive, the Stags will start at their own 20. Tonight's broadcast also brought to you by the Kansas City Command. Season tickets for the 2012 Arena Football League season at Sprint Center are on sale now. Call 855-KC-ARENA.
We really only saw Cozart on the first offensive series move the ball with his feet, so you got to think he's going to try to get some of his other playmakers involved.
And just like that, it's a toss right side. Quanzi Johnson gets to the edge. Johnson down the right side. Can anyone catch him? At the 30, 20, 10. Touchdown, Stags. Quanzi Johnson, 80 yards. And how about that for an answer? Quanzi Johnson off the pitch. The edge was sealed. He didn't need much space to get to the outside, and his speed took over from there. And I think we've just got a clear indication that maybe it's going to be the offenses who light it up tonight.
Yeah, Johnson, the go-to running back for the Stags. It's his 10th rushing touchdown of the season. I believe that's his longest rushing touchdown of the year.
So one play, 13 seconds, 80 yards. And we're tied at 7 as the point after splits the uprights. So 8:20 to play here in the first quarter, all tied up at 7. And some early fireworks here in this marquee matchup on the Kansas side of the state line. The winner will take on the winner of the Gardner-Edgerton-Shawnee Heights game, which is going on right now. And you certainly have to think that the winner here tonight will be heavily favored to win that ball game as well, the way they've been playing throughout the season, and especially as of late here the last month or so.
Yeah, both teams have been a high-caliber offense all year. They each lost one game. Bishop Miege to their counterpart here tonight, Blue Valley, and Blue Valley, they lost to Pittsburgh 45-35 latter part of the season.
Kick headed toward McNearland at the 14. Not much space, and he gets knocked down shy of the 20-yard line. Short return, and the Tigers will start at the 19-yard line.
John Fisher there with some good special team coverage. He gets in a little bit of action on the offensive side as well, but not too much. Listed at running back, but usually plays a little fullback more often for the Stags.
So second possession of the night for the Tigers. They've only had it for one snap, but that's all they needed to get on the scoreboard the first time around. Zimmerman with Folks behind him and 3 wide receivers to the right. This one goes to Folks, left side, wrapped up around the 20-yard line. He gets about 2 yards, but a nice play there by Richard Smith, senior defensive lineman.
there's actually some speed on the defensive end positions for Bishop Miege. I mean, they've got a guy that plays wide receiver in Richard Smith, and then a tight end in Adam Novak opposite him. And Adam Novak can run about a 4.5 40 is what I'm told. So some speed.
Zimmerman to pass on second down, looking downfield. Has a man across the 30. That'll be a first down. It's Skaggs with his second catch of the night. Gets out to the 33 for a gain of 11 yards. And a first down. McKinley Johnson on the tackle in the secondary. First and 10 for the Tigers as we approach 7.5 minutes to play here in the first half, or first quarter rather. Folks right side this time, trying to get the edge, gets to about the 40-yard line before he's pushed out of bounds. A good first down gain. Looks like there's a flag, so we will wait for the word from the official here. Holding call against the Tigers, so that first down gain will come back, and the Tigers will be pushed back for first and long. It would have been a gain of about 7, but instead they'll push it back to the 23, and it'll be first and 20.
All right, definitely negates a good first down, solid run by Folks. Would have set up easy yardage to get the first down, but now they put themselves in the hole, did the Tigers.
7:22 to play in the first quarter, all tied up at 7. Zimmerman looking to pass on first and long. Has time, looking for his man Skaggs, throws high and incomplete. He was covered by Jack Wirtz. So it'll be second and 20. Early on here, Zimmerman 2 for 3 through the air for 68 yards. And that long touchdown on his first snap. Pistol formation again with Folks behind Zimmerman. And now Folks in motion to the right. Zimmerman. Now he'll keep it across the 30. Hit as he gets to the 35, but a good gain as he picks up about 11 yards, and that'll bring up a much more manageable third down. Gives Zimmerman a gain of 11, and it'll be 3rd and 9 now as we go under 7 minutes to play here in the first quarter. Tigers just look to the sideline rather than huddling up. And now looking back to the sideline. 3rd and 9, ball spotted just inside the 35. Pressure coming from the right side, and they got him wrapped up.
Yeah, Timmy Mahoney right there.
Timmy Mahoney coming from the left side. Zimmerman kind of stepping back a little bit. Sliding a little bit left in the pocket. And Mahoney caught him from his front side. Loss of 3 on the sack. And the punt upcoming. Let that one bounce to the 30-yard line as McKinley Johnson waved off his teammates. They'll spot it at the 29. So a punt of 40 yards with no return. And it'll be Staggs 1st and 10 from the 29 when we resume action here shortly.
A good dial-up play on the defensive side with the blitz coming from Mahoney on the far side of the offensive line. He came untouched. Looked like Folks, didn't pick him up at all.
He had a long ways to go to get there, but he did come in relatively untouched. And now Cozart in the Stags offense. Designed pass out into the flat. Ball on the deck. I believe it was Parmalee who had it taken away. And there's our first turnover of the game, and the Tigers have it in business in Stags territory.
definitely the wrong area if you're Bishop Miege to have that happen to you. I mean, obviously I talked about the turnovers being a key. There was a fumble in the first game, return for a touchdown. Blue Valley here could possibly punch it in for another score to take the lead here in this first quarter.
David Marr, number 45, the senior, getting in there to cause the fumble. And now at the 5:34 mark of the first quarter, we've got our first turnover. With the Tigers starting in plus territory. Zimmerman looking down the middle, has a man. It's Skaggs open inside the 10 and down to the 6-yard line. Zimmerman with time split up in the pocket. Hit his senior receiver. A gain of nearly 30 yards. They'll spot it at the 7, call it the 6-yard line. So a gain of 29. First and goal. Folks, right side. Good defense there to force him to the edge. Nowhere to go. Maybe got a yard. Novak on the tackle. Officially no gain on the play. The ball spotted at the 6-yard line, just outside the 6. Folks again, left side. He's got room to the edge. Touchdown, Tigers! Justin Folks from 6 yards out puts the Tigers back on top. A 3-play, 35-yard drive set up by the Stags fumble. The Tigers strike quickly to get back on top here at the 4:52 mark of the first quarter. Point after is good. And with 4:52 to play in the first quarter, Tigers 14, Stags 7. And again, as we said, Mike, after that quick strike that the Tigers opened with, we'll see how the Stags respond. Last time it was a big play out of Quanzi Johnson. We'll see if they can overcome that turnover in another quick scoring drive by the defending state champs.
Yeah, Bishop Miege is going to have to hold on to the ball. I mean, they lost the fumble on that offensive series, and then had a bad snap that Kozart just fell upon that could have went the other way once again. David Marr, just to give him some credit on the defensive end, he was the gentleman that got the fumble recovery in the first contest between these two. So heads up play by David Marr.
Austin Johnson has blasted 2 into the end zone, make it 3. And so again, the Stags will start at their own 20. $5 footlong subs are back at Mr. Goodsense. 7 great subs to choose from. Come see what fresh really is at Mr. Goodsense.
Now, a lot of people take special teams for granted. They don't think that it's going to be a huge factor in. But setting them up on the 20 for the Stags every offensive series, it's not great field position, and they've had a couple kickoff returns for touchdowns this season, so you negate that automatically.
Different look in the backfield here with this formation, but it's a designed run to Kozart looking to the right side. Gets maybe a couple of yards, maybe a gain of 3 there for Kozart. Good pursuit by the Tigers defense. It looked like maybe Chris Foster was the first one to get there from his spot on the defensive line.
Now, the Tigers just stayed in their gaps on that defensive play there. I mean, they did their assignments, made sure that Kozart tried to stretch it out, but didn't have any holes to run through. Give Montel Kozart a gain of 4 on that play, so it'll be 2nd and 6 from the 24
back in the shotgun with 5 wide receivers. Looking to pass. Cozart now under pressure, goes down at the 20. Looked like he was ready to step up and make a move in the middle of the field. Maybe lost his footing a little bit, but there were plenty of Tigers around. And a loss of 4 on the play, so back to the original line of scrimmage at the 20-yard line, and it'll be 3rd and long.
And if I'm correct, Cozart hasn't completed a pass yet thus far.
He completed the one pass that eventually became the turnover.
Yeah, that's correct.
Which was just a short 5-yard gain before the ball came loose. And we'll see what they dial up here on 3rd and long. Cozart looking to run again, and he's hit in the backfield and goes down at the 13-yard line. Tigers defense flexing its muscles here on this series. And Cozart with his helmet off trots slowly to the sideline. And the Stags will be forced to punt again. First punt, as you mentioned, atypical of Russell Gray. We'll see if he can get off a good one here as he stands with his heels at the goal line. This one looks like it's off the side of his foot. And if not for a fortunate bounce, it would have been even worse. This one goes out of bounds at the 39-yard line. So just a 25-yard punt. And the Tigers in business with 1st and 10 in Bishop Miege territory.
A lot of things going the way of Blue Valley here in this first quarter. I mean, they get the turnover, great field position on Bishop Miege's side of the field. Now they have great field position off the punt. Once again, Russell Gray's punts thus far this game have been less than spectacular.
So 1st and 10 for the Tigers with a 7-point lead here. Under 3 minutes to play in the first quarter. And it's Fulks, left side, not much room there. Gets maybe a couple of yards. Rudy Estrada among several tacklers. So give Fulks a yard to the 37, and it's 2nd and 9. 3 wide receivers to the right. Zimmerman back to pass. Looking left. Has a man at the 31-yard line. Andrew Rinkmeyer, junior tight end. Ivy on the tackle. A gain of 6 makes it 3rd and short. So big down here for the Stags defense. 3rd and a very short 4. And with this snap, will likely go under 2 minutes to play here in the opening quarter. Zimmerman rolling right. Under pressure, throwing. Has his man Skaggs. Did he stay in bounds? Yes, it is a good catch. They say Skaggs dragged a foot over there. He was pretty well covered. I believe it was Johnson, McKinley Johnson over there, with pretty good coverage. But Zimmerman put that in the right spot. Gives Skaggs the catch. A gain of 8. And a Tigers first down. So Zimmerman still has completed all but one pass. Fulks makes a man miss. Cuts to the middle of the field. Inside the 10-yard line. 1st and goal, Tigers. Fulks sidestepped his first man at the line and found the middle of the field open for the taking. He gets it down to the 7-yard line. Gain of 16. And it's 1st and goal. Tigers looking to put some early separation between them and the Stags. Fulks not much there. Thomas Shamit, 6'3 senior defensive tackle with good penetration into the backfield for a loss of 1. And it's 2nd and goal from the 8. Mike, the Stags defense kind of on its heels here. And I think if they could somehow hold the Tigers out of the end zone, it would be quite a victory here early in this game. Zimmerman under pressure, trying to sidestep the rush, now lofting it out of bounds, just kind of threw that one away as he evaded the rush. A good stand here on first and second down for the Stags, and now a huge third down here in the red zone.
Yeah, two of the key players on the defensive end for the Stags right there in the backfield, causing some havoc on Zimmerman. Yeah, the defensive end, Adam Novak, and then also the linebacker. He's only a sophomore, but Brad Ivy, leads the team in tackles, and he's up there in the top 5 in the EKL.
Third and goal from the 8. 1 minute, 8 seconds to play here in the first quarter. Zimmerman to throw. Looking left. Has a man. Stood up at about the 2-yard line. It was Jack Porter. Parmalee stood him up in his tracks right about the 3-yard line, so they hold him to a gain of 5 yards. And we'll see what they call for here. Looks like they'll send out the kicking team to try and extend this to a 10-point lead. So credit Parmalee for stepping up and making a solid form tackle in the middle of the field on the big receiver. And now here as the final few seconds, as we near the final seconds of the first quarter, Austin Johnson on to try a 20-yard field goal to extend the lead. Snap, hold, kick, all good. And with 20 seconds to play in the first quarter, the Tigers extend the lead. Blue Valley on top of Bishop Miege, 17-7.
Johnson was able to net a field goal in the first contest of 22 yards. He put one in through the uprights here. Officially, he was 1 for 5 on the season, so the lone field goal that he made happened to be what they needed to win against Bishop Miege in the regular season.
He certainly seems to have the leg. We've seen him on each of the 3 kickoffs so far. He's put about halfway deep in the end zone. And he certainly has handled himself and his duties appropriately on the point after and now on the short field goal. So a 10-point lead for the Tigers, looking for their 4th straight win over the Stags. We'll see if McKinley Johnson gets a chance to bring this one out. Another deep kick down the right side, and Johnson will just turn and head back toward the sideline. If you're going to trust the roof over your head, you need to trust your roofing company. With Christian Brothers Roofing Company, you get years of experience and integrity. Don't wait until you know there's a problem. Contact us for a complimentary 16-point roof and gutter inspection at Christian Brothers Roofing, 816-453-ROOF, or at 453roof.com. So a 3 and out on the last possession for the Stags, now trailing by 10. We see that stacked 4 wide receiver set now, this time to the left of Cozart. A designed run for the senior quarterback. He's got some space as he gets across the 25-yard line. Good gain of about 6 on first down, and that should be the last play of the first quarter. Thinking about buying or selling a home? If you are, I know about 6,000 agents who would like to charge you way too much, or you can call your friends over at Realty 1.5. If you want Red 7 hot route service and want to save thousands of dollars, give them a call at 913-302-7886. Again, 302-7886. End of the first quarter of play here at Dixon Dahl Stadium. It's Blue Valley 17, Bishop Miege 7. Some exciting offensive firepower so far, just as we might have expected. And so far, really the difference being a turnover that set up a short field for a touchdown, and also a short field set up by a poor punt here late in the first quarter. Mike?
Yeah, the field position, obviously the key, off the turnover and then the punt, as you said, Steve. And that's been, gave Blue Valley a lot of chances just to punch it in, and they've taken that advantage of that. Also, Kyle Zimmerman mixing the pass with the run. Very effectively there. They ran it 31 times against Bishop Miege in the regular season. They've kind of spread it about even here tonight between the pass and the run thus far through that first quarter.
Watch high school football playoff action live at Nick and Jake's, including tonight's Blue Valley Bishop Miege clash. Nick and Jake's, the proud title sponsor of 810varsity.com. Check out our promotions throughout the season on Facebook or on Twitter at Nick and Jake's. the new home for high school football in the Northland or in Johnson County, Nick and Jake's. Real food, honest drink, Nick and Jake's, the proud title sponsor of 810varsity.com. Start of the second quarter, toss left side, Quanzi Johnson gets past the 25, but wrapped up maybe a yard gain on the play. Good pursuit left to right by the Tigers' front seven. Give Johnson a gain of a yard, and it'll be 3rd and 3. Ball spotted at the 27-yard line. Johnson, just his second carry. The first time he touched it was an 80-yard touchdown run. 4 wide receivers right. It's Trey Parmalee to the left. Cozart in the shotgun. Cozart to throw, looks for Parmalee, has him at the 35. And Trey Parmalee, first down for the Stags. And a big one at that as the Stags move the chains. Just the second completion for Montel Cozart. And a gain of 9 on that play. Out to the 36-yard line.
I think we might see that 4 wide receiver bunch formation a little bit more often, as it's pretty effective on the season, and they have like 3 or 4 different plays that they call out of it.
It's the same formation here on 1st and 10. Kind of a high snap, but Cozart brings it down. Flag comes in. Looks like that's probably going to be a hold against Joey Fisher. Looks like he was the offensive lineman who was in the mix right where that laundry was tossed. That is the call, so wipe the gain off the board, and the Stags will move back 10 yards.
I was mentioning that 4 wide receiver set. The main plays that Bishop Miege likes to run out of that is obviously the design quarterback run with Cozart, or they go to the flat, a quick pass either to the back wide receiver of the 4 or the lone wide receiver on either side. And usually it is able to get them about 10 yards, about I'd say on the average play this season.
Yeah, it certainly seemed like that 3rd down conversion. It was designed to go to Parmalee from the start with that single coverage over here to the left side. That's what they'll do again, and as we know, sometimes at all levels of football, it's all about just making sure you get the ball in a playmaker's hands and give him some space to hopefully make a play. And that's what they're doing here. Parmalee, can he make a man miss? He does. Not much room beyond that, though, as he's tossed down at the 30-yard line for a short gain. Give him about 4 yards. They'll spot it right at the 30-yard line, so that'll bring up 2nd and about 16 yards to go. 1 minute into the second quarter, it's Blue Valley 17, Bishop Miege 7. Cozart 3 of 4 passing for a modest 18 yards. That same formation again. Another bad snap, though. Cozart brings it in, now running right, and he throws that one short of his man. I believe that was Mahoney, who was the closest receiver, but timing definitely an issue there, as Cozart had trouble bringing in the snap, and that's at least the 3rd time, Mike, that we've seen trouble with the shotgun snap back to the senior quarterback.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, Bishop Miege has not really had an issue with that type of stuff throughout the season, but here, maybe it's the jitters or something going into this sectional matchup, and, you know, they're trying to get a win against a rival in Blue Valley, and the last 2 games they played against Blue Valley, they fell to them, so Bishop Miege maybe have to get that composure back underneath themselves.
Definitely a sense of urgency. Down 10 here. Cozart pumps. Now throws deep right side. Man is covered, jump ball, and it's knocked down. It looked like McKinley Johnson was the receiver. And Alex Baird, I believe, the corner, number 2, on the coverage. The ball was a little bit underthrown, but Baird was with him step for step.
It was the first time Cozart really had any pocket to have any time to even try to launch one downfield. I mean, Blue Valley has been in the backfield wreaking havoc with their defensive linebackers coming in as well. The 3rd punt for Gray, this one much better.
Inside the 10, McNearland let it go, and now inside the 5. And they'll down it at the 2-yard line. How about a 68-yard punt for Russell Gray? And now the Tigers will take over deep in their own end. 10:26 to play here in the first half. It's Blue Valley 17, Bishop Miege 7. As the Tigers take over.
That's got to easily be Russell Gray's best punt of the year right there, 68 yards. I mean, pinning Blue Valley with the worst starting position here in the first half of tonight.
Zimmerman in the pistol formation with Folks behind him, both in their own end zone, and it'll be Folks looking for room on the right side, kind of plowed under his own man as he got to the 5-yard line. Estrada with the tackle, but it looked like, I believe that was Chris Foster, the tight end, who kind of got plowed over by his own man, was a little bit slow to get up. Gain of 2 for Folks. Ball just shy of the 5-yard line. And it is 2nd and 8 for the Tigers. They'll keep it on the ground again. There's some room for Folks as he gets to the sideline. Justin Folks across the 30. And it's Parmalee who brings him down, but not until he crosses midfield. A big gainer for Folks. We're going to spot it at the 46 of the Stags. Make that the 47, it looks like. So a gain of 48. By far the biggest gainer and the biggest hole for Folks to run through this evening. And the Tigers are back in business out of the shadow of their own goalpost. Zimmerman wants to throw this time. Under pressure, stepping up. Eludes one tackle. Now running left. Dragged down or pushed out of bounds as he gets near the 40-yard line. Looked like Smith, Richard Smith, in pursuit as Zimmerman was flushed out. One of the Stags defenders briefly had a hand on Zimmerman's ankle, but he was able to step out of that tackle and make a positive gain out of it, give him 5 yards. And it's 2nd and 5 from the 42. First carry of the game from Matt Floyd. Novak on the stop. Gain of 4 for Floyd. And it'll be 3rd and short for the Tigers. Ball spotted at the 38-yard line.
Huge plays here for Bishop Miege.
Zimmerman to Folks. Easily gets the first down as he crosses the 35 to the 34-yard line. Gain of 4. And they'll move the chains once again with 8:52 to play here in the first half. 10-point lead for the Tigers. As we've mentioned a few times, back on September 23rd, it was the Tigers beating the Stags 24-21. And last year, Blue Valley twice defeated the Stags as well. First down run for Folks. Gets a couple yards off the left side. Gets just a yard. I'll give him 2 yards. And it'll be 2nd and 8 from the 33. You got to think after pounding the ball here these last few times with Floyd and Folks, maybe Zimmerman might look to air it out. He does. Has a man at the 25-yard line and driving for extra yards to the 24. Mikey Henson, sophomore receiver, with his first catch. Gain of 9 on the play, unofficially 7 of 9 passing is Kyle Zimmerman. Run to the left side. Folks again. He gets to almost the 20-yard line. And with 7:34 to play here in the first half, the Stags use a timeout. (17-7). Tigers on top.
Have you always wanted to learn to fly? Has it been a lifelong dream? Now you can live the dream. Learning to fly with Air Associates can be the one of the most exciting and rewarding and challenging activities you'll ever experience. You'll have the most fun you've ever had. Their FAA-certified flight instructors will take you through every step, from first flight to solo, to the freedom of your pilot's license in their modern Cessna aircraft. Their special flight packages will make your training even more affordable. Visit their website at takeoffkc.com. So far, Boo Valley has been able to move the ball pretty effectively with a mix of run and pass. I mean, Zimmerman hasn't really targeted one pure target. His main go-to guy on the season is Sean Skaggs, who's got a touchdown here in tonight's contest, but he's thrown it to plenty of other receivers as well, and then mix in Folks and one or two carries for Floyd as well at the running back position.
By my count, Zimmerman is connected with 4 different receivers, unofficially 7 of 9 for 125 yards, and I've got Folks at 11 carries for 87, the biggest chunk, that 48-yarder. Zimmerman to keep it here, gets across the 20 to about the 17-yard line. So a gain of 4 for Zimmerman, who's now run it 3 times for 20 yards, and it brings up another big third down here for the Stags defense. They held tight on that last Tigers possession late in the first quarter, and they'll need to do it again here. 3 wide receivers, Folks in the backfield. We go under 7 minutes to play here in the first half. Tigers on top of the Stags, 17-7. Zimmerman, quick throw, right side. Looked like that one was batted down. Adam Novak credited with the pass defense, and it was Tom Shamit who applied the pressure and hit Zimmerman just as he got rid of the ball. So 4th and 3 from the 17 after just the 3rd incomplete pass for Zimmerman, and the offense is staying on the field. It would be about a 35-yard field goal if they were to try it from here. But it's the Tigers offense. Similar formation with 3 wide receivers. Zimmerman to throw. Now he's going to run it. He has room up the middle. First down and more. Zimmerman toward the end zone, loses the ball. Looks like the Stags have it. It'll be a touchback for Bishop Miege. And what a stop that turns out to be. So Zimmerman found room over the middle, had the first down, and nearing the goal line.
Yeah, Brad Ivy right there to pick up that fumble is a huge play. I mean, Zimmerman had the first down. Looked like he was going to have the touchdown to make this lead a very comfortable lead going towards halftime, but nice job by Bishop Miege to counter it with a fumble recovery, and that's the first turnover for Boo Valley here in tonight's contest.
And you called Brad Ivy's name and number earlier and said he was someone to watch out for despite being only a sophomore. But a big play there. And we'll see what that does to the momentum of this game, because the visiting crowd here, the Tigers contingent, was ready to erupt. Cozart rolling right, looking to throw. Deep right side. Just outside the outstretched hands of, I believe, McKinley Johnson. He had a step on his man. Cozart let that one fly. That was a good 50 yards in the air. Cozart has now missed on his last 3 pass attempts, and that one there was just a few inches away from being a huge play to get the Stags right back within a field goal. So 2nd and 10 from the 20 with 6:35 here to play in the first half. Johnson right side looking for room, gets nothing there. No gain on the play. Jackson Tupper, the linebacker, blew that one up, and it'll be 3rd and long.
Yeah, the stretch play runs for Bishop Miege have been ineffective throughout this first half. I mean, Blue Valley has been staying home on their assignments, pushing it out, and then just making sure they get a helmet right there on the ball, and minimal gains for the Stags on those types of plays.
I mentioned how effective Zimmerman had been in the passing game. Cozart has connected on just 3 of 7 passes. And a big play here on 3rd and long. Cozart to throw again, now having to step up in the pocket. He'll try and do it himself, and he's got room in the middle of the field. 1st down and more as he dives across the 35. He'll spot it at about the 37-yard line, a gain of 16. And a big one there as the Stags move the chains. 1st and 10 for Bishop Miege.
A good job by the tight end, Adam Novak, ahead to see that his quarterback was going to take it himself and run and make sure he ensured a block to that would ensure the 1st down for Cozart and the Stags.
Cozart backs up into the shotgun. He's got Johnson to his right and 2 wide receivers to each side. Low snap again, and all they can do is fall on it. So another negative play. A mistake there, an unforced error, we'll call it, that'll put them back behind the chains.
That's a handful of times that I can recall here in this first half where the snap has been, just mishandled or arid, just too high or something, and where Cozart can't handle it. And then that may have been on the exchange a little bit too with Cozart and Quanzi Johnson.
Now you mentioned the first time we saw that occur was on the opening drive after the Stags had gotten a couple of 1st downs, and then with the ball near midfield on 1st down, it was a snap over Cozart's head that was a loss of 10 yards and really set them up in negative with a negative play. Johnson gets past the first contact and a positive gain there on 2nd and long to make this a little more manageable. Gets past the original line of scrimmage for a gain of about 6, and it'll be 3rd and 9. So just 4 carries for Johnson by my count. 88 yards, but the bulk of that coming on that 80-yard touchdown run midway through the first quarter. 3rd and 9 as we go under 4 minutes to play in the first half with 3 wide receivers to the left. Johnson in the backfield with Cozart. They need the 47 for the 1st down. Cozart hit in the backfield and he goes down. Didn't see who got in there for the sack, but Johnson looked like he wanted to release that ball deep down the right side. And as he hesitated for just a moment, it allowed the defense to get in there into the backfield. And the sack forces the Stags to bring the punting crew back on again. Chris Foster credited with the sack, and Gray on to punt for the 4th time. This one low, but getting a pretty good roll as it goes inside the 25-yard line and out at the 22.
The thrill of a touchdown, the excitement of a successful pass, all combined remind us that state football championship games are only moments away. Sponsored by the Kansas State High School Activities Association, state championship playoffs will begin November 1st and conclude with the final games on November 26th. Attend the games, support your team, join the crowd during the final weeks of Kansas High School football beginning November 1st. For more information, call the Kansas State High School Activities Association, 785-273-5329.
17-7, Tigers on top with exactly 3 minutes to play here in the first half. And it's Blue Valley ball at its own 22. Falks on 1st down, some penetration into the backfield, and he's hit for a loss. Greg Orick came in to clean him up, but Estrada was there as well, and good penetration by the left side of the defensive line. Loss of 3. They'll spot it back at the 19-yard line. Zimmerman 7 of 10 through the air. And he'll pass here on 2nd and long. Pressure up the middle. He gets past one man, now lofts it down the sideline. And incomplete. Just kind of threw that one away after he was able to shed Tom Shamit, who'd gotten into the backfield. And although Shamit won't get credit for the sack, he certainly helped cause that incompletion, as Zimmerman could only throw it away as he tried to continue to evade the rush. So 3rd and 13. Ball at the 19-yard line. This would be a big stop for the Stags, as we saw Russell Gray really struggle punting in this direction. So if they could force a Tigers punt here, they might get good field position. Shamit in the backfield again, going after Zimmerman. And now Zimmerman can only throw it away to the left side this time. Again, good pressure into the backfield by that front 4 for the Stags, and a big 3 and out here. Smith also getting pressure on the quarterback. And so a quick 3 and out will get the ball back to the Stags here for the last couple minutes of the first half.
Yeah, that was huge defensive stand. I mean, they get 2 minutes here before halftime to get something going on the offensive end, maybe gain some momentum, and hopefully if they can get a score, they would be, a little bit better shape going into the halftime.
Perkins on the punt. He was pressured, and not a good kick, as that one will stop short of midfield.
Yeah, the snap came in high for Perkins there, so he had to get it and then try to reset himself, and by that time he had pressure in his face. So you got to get that kick up high to try to get it over the defender, and in doing so, it's going to result in good field position for your opponent.
Only about a 25-yard punt. And it'll be 1st and 10 Stags at the 46 of the Tigers with 1:58 to play here in the first half. Again, we've seen a costly turnover for each squad here in the first half. A Stags turnover that led to a 35-yard quick touchdown drive in the first quarter. And then a Zimmerman fumble into the end zone that certainly took points off the board for the Tigers, and instead was a touchback for the Stags. Johnson with the first down carry gets across the 45 to the 43-yard line. And it's 2nd and 7, clock running with 1:35 to play in the half. 2 wide receivers to each side, Cozart and Johnson in the backfield. Montel Cozart looking right, throwing right, has a man inside the 40. To the middle of the field, Johnson sheds one tackle. Check that, it's Parmalee to the 30-yard line. And a good run after the catch by Trey Parmalee. Gain of 13 yards, his 3rd catch of the evening. And it's 1st and 10 Stags at the 30 with 1:18 to play in the half. 2 timeouts left, so certainly plenty of time to work with here for the home team. 3 wide receivers left. Cozart in the shotgun. Looks right, has a man inside the 20. Makes a man miss. Mahoney to the 10-yard line. Timmy Mahoney with his first catch down to the 10-yard line. Made a couple of men miss. They'll spot it at the 11, so a gain of 19. And just like that, Mike, they're knocking on the door. Smoothie King Nutritional Smoothies are refreshing, custom-made drinks that taste great and are good for you. Whether your goal is to lose weight, bulk up, or just find a drink that's good for you, Smoothie King has a smoothie for you. For more information, visit one of our Smoothie King Nutritional Lifestyle Centers, or you can find us on the web at smoothieking.com. So 1st and 10 with the ball just outside the 10-yard line. The Stags can get a first down without getting a touchdown. Cozart under center with Quanzi Johnson dotting the I formation. Quick fade trying to get to the left corner of the end zone. It was intended for tight end Adam Novak. That's where Cozart wanted to go from the start, obviously, just throwing it toward that left back corner, but a little too deep for Novak, and it'll bring up 2nd and 10.
A little bit of a surprise that they had Novak going to the fade there. Usually that's drawn up for Trey Parmalee, the main target for Cozart this season.
So 2nd and 10, ball just inside the 11-yard line. Stags trailing by 10, but threatening to put some points on the board and cut this down to a one-score game before the break. Spread it out again here, this time on 2nd down. Quick throw to Johnson. McKinley Johnson toward the pylon. Touchdown, but a flag comes in. And I believe as Adam Novak held his head down, maybe he'll be the one guilty of a hold. But it certainly looks like this one is coming back.
Yeah, that's one of those plays that I was talking about earlier with the 4 wide receiver bunch. They throw it to the flat, the back wide receiver of the bunch, and then you have the blockers out front to create a little bit of sort of a wedge to open up a lane. And that one opened up a lane, but it was because of holding.
Yeah, that pass looked like it actually may have been a lateral. Maybe have even thrown that one somewhat behind the line of scrimmage. But whatever the case, Johnson did his job once he got the ball in his hands. But the holding negates that. And they'll spot the ball back at the 14. So the penalty obviously occurring beyond the line of scrimmage. So from the spot of the foul, it equates to a loss of, sets them back 3 yards. Blitz coming from the left side. He gets rid of it quickly. Did Parmalee pull it away? He didn't. But there's going to be a flag on the play. Looks like a pass interference call on Alex Baird, who was stuck in man coverage with Parmalee.
Yeah, that'll dial up a 1st and goal situation, if indeed that is what the call is.
It does go against the Tigers. And so with 44 seconds to play here in the half, you were right that it will bring up a 1st and goal. Buy Factory Direct and save at Factory Direct Appliance. Call 816-468-8344 or visit kcfda.com. 1st and goal now. Ball at the 7-yard line following the penalty. I formation from the left hash. Tossed. Quanzi Johnson looking right. Gets a block. Johnson trying to get the edge. Gets just inside the 5 and then stacked up and shoved out of bounds at the 4 after a gain of 3 yards. Good lateral pursuit there by the Tigers defense.
Yeah, I can't talk enough about that lateral movement by the Tigers defense all throughout this first half. They've made sure that no big gains are coming on stretch runs.
Looked like the linebacker Cooper McCoy, who was kind of leading the charge there. Johnson got one block on the edge on the right side of the line that I thought might set him free toward the pylon, but like you said, speed and strength of that Tigers defense evident there. 2nd and goal, ball just inside the 5. Cozart. Might be time to dial his own number here. Nope, into the flat. Parmalee had to leap to get it, but into the end zone he goes. Trey Parmalee, touchdown, Bishop Miege. That one was going to Parmalee all the way, Mike. And when he got it, he went to pay dirt for a 5-yard touchdown, and the Stags are back within a score.
What strikes me there is they went back to the same play that Johnson got the touchdown called back on, and they were able to successfully convert it that time.
Carter's extra point is up and good, and with 34 seconds to play in the first half, it's Blue Valley 17, Bishop Miege 14. Make sure 810varsity.com is your central hub for the playoffs. At Playoff Central, get live playoff brackets updated in real time and, of course, live scores and more. Your source for the playoffs, 810varsity.com. And be sure to get ready for the new revamped 810varsity.com for basketball and wrestling. Kansas City's new source for high school sports, 810varsity.com.
Parmalee maybe using a little bit of his shiftiness that he may have learned from his dad, who is the tight ends coach for the Kansas City Chiefs, but played in the NFL as well for 9 seasons and scored about 20 touchdowns in the NFL. So
pedigree never hurts, right?
Indeed so.
The kick from Carter. McNerlin back into the end zone, and it's a touchback for the Tigers. And we'll see, with only 34 seconds left but 3 timeouts in their pocket, if the Tigers try to move the ball vertically here in the final seconds of the first half.
Well, we know they can, because they on the first offensive drive, one play for a touchdown, and it was through the air by the arm of Kyle Zimmerman.
That 57-yard connection to Skaggs got the scoring started. And we'll see what's in store here in the final half minute. It's a running play called to Folks, who cuts it back to the middle of the field to make something out of what appeared to be close to nothing. And he gets out to about the 28-yard line for a gain of 8. But they're letting the clock run here as we go under 20 seconds. So it certainly appears they will be content to go into the halftime locker room with a 3-point lead. They will snap it again, though, it appears. And it'll again be in the belly of Justin Folks, wrapped up in the backfield. A loss of a couple on the play. Adam Novak with the tackle. And so momentum for the Stags as they head to the halftime locker room. After one half of play, Blue Valley 17, Bishop Miege 14. An exciting first half here, Mike.
Yeah, definitely exciting. I mean, it's been back and forth. You thought Blue Valley was able to score pretty much when they wanted to, but they had a advantage with some field position, getting the first turnover of the game inside Stag territory, punching that in for a touchdown, and then off a punt that didn't go very far for Russell Gray. Another good field position, setting up another touchdown for Blue Valley.
So a big momentum shift at the end of the half as the Stags cut it to a field goal. 17-14 our halftime score. Nick and Jake's Real Food, Honest Drink. Nick and Jake's, the proud title sponsor of 810varsity.com, located in Parkville, in the Parkville Commons, and in Overland Park on 135th Street. Visit them online at nickandjakes.com. Back at Dixon-Dahl Stadium, getting ready for the start of the second half. Blue Valley leading Bishop Miege 17-14. And Steve Eisenberg here along with Mike Smith. Mike, this has been just about everything we'd hoped it would be so far in the first half.
Yeah, definitely. We thought it would be a close one, and indeed it has been. Blue Valley took over the pace really in that first quarter and were able to dictate things. They got a turnover that they were able to punch in for a touchdown, and then they got great field position off a lackluster punt by Russell Gray. They were able to punch it in for another one, and they had the 17-7 advantage, and then it looked like they may be able to punch another one into the end zone, but Kyle Zimmerman fumbles it in the end zone, and Bishop Miege recovers it for a touchback, and they be able to march down and put some points on the board as well. And then right before half, they make sure it's a field goal game.
Yeah, and from the outset, we talked about the big playability from both teams, and we saw that very early on, like you said, with the opening score coming from Blue Valley on one play, the 57-yard touchdown pass from Kyle Zimmerman to Sean Skaggs, and then later in the first quarter, it's actually right after that when Quanzi Johnson answered with an 80-yard touchdown rush. And so they had kept the pace there early on. We expect to see more big plays here again in the second half. We talked about the history between these two schools, with Blue Valley knocking off Miege in the first round of the playoffs last year in a very tense 35-34 game. And the matchup earlier this season, during the regular season, came down to a field goal as well. So we could be in for a real treat here in the second half. Living up to its billing here, this marquee matchup on the Kansas side of the state line tonight.
Yeah, the matchup earlier this season didn't have too many points going at halftime. It was 7-3 Bishop Miege, and then points came all in that second half pretty much. 21 in the third quarter by the Tigers, and then 14 in the fourth quarter for the Stags to try to make a comeback. They fell a little short. But we had some more points in that first half. Got to think that both teams are going to try to stick with their game plans, and Bishop Miege obviously wants to keep that momentum that they had going into halftime.
It'll be Blue Valley football to start the second half, trying to build on that 3-point lead. 17-14 our score here as we get ready to get underway. Some unofficial stats here to start the second half. Kyle Zimmerman, the senior quarterback for the Tigers, 7 of 12 for 125 yards. And Justin Folks, the senior tailback, 12 carries, 84 yards. Skaggs has been the favorite target as expected. 4 catches, 105 yards, including that long touchdown to start the scoring early in the first quarter. So it'll be Carter to kick. McNerlin, number 11, has been the primary kick returner. And this standing room only crowd sees the second half underway. It's McNerlin at the 10. Trying to cut to the middle of the field. Nowhere to go beyond the 20, though. And the Stags pile up on him at about the 21-yard line. Leading the charge, number 32, John Fisher, who came out raising his hands in the air, looking to get the team and the crowd fired up here for the second half.
Yeah, second time Fisher actually made a pretty good play on the special teams unit. Had a good one in the first half that pinned Blue Valley back in some not so beneficial field position, and this one they're not starting off so hot as well.
I checked that. I thought he got across the 20. It's actually the 15, so they'll start it at the 17-yard line. Folks gets the touch and has room to the right side. Folks across the 30 and a big gain on first down, a gain of about 15 yards. So Justin Folks gets it going early, and a first down for Blue Valley. Tonight's broadcast brought to you by Mr. Goodsense. Ordering Goodsense is now click and easy with Goodsense online ordering. Just log on to MrGoodsense.com and place your order today. So the 15-yard gain for Folks puts the ball out to the 32. And he's back behind Zimmerman again on this first down. Patiently waiting for a hole to open. Doesn't really do so. He does get a couple of yards out near the 35. Tom Shamit credited with the tackle. It's a 2-yard gain. And 2nd and 8. 1 minute into the second half. Blue Valley 17. Bishop Miege 14. The winner will take on the winner of the Shawnee Heights Gardner Edgerton game, which is going on as we speak. Folks, his third straight carry, gets a couple more out to about the 37-yard line. They'll spot it at the 36, so a gain of 2 again. And the Stags fans making some noise here on this 3rd and 6 early in the second half. 3 wide receivers to the left, Folks behind Zimmerman. Zimmerman to throw. Hit in the backfield and dropped at the 25-yard line. Sacked by Rudy Estrada. We've called his name a couple of times. And he's been in the backfield, making his presence felt on a few occasions, and a big negative play there. And the Tigers will have to punt after 1 first down. Perkins to punt. McKinley Johnson inside his own 40-yard line waiting to receive it. High kick down the right side. Johnson backs away as it bounces sideways at the 38-yard line. So a 35-yard punt. And the opening possession of the second half for Bishop Miege will begin at the Stags' 38-yard line. Montel Cozart, 6 of 11 passing, 55 yards in the first half. He also ran for about 50 yards. Quanzi Johnson again with the big play on the ground, the 80-yard touchdown run. He's had 6 carries totaling 94 yards. And it's Johnson who will be at the back of the I formation on 1st and 10. Smith, the tight end, moves over to the left side. And on first down, it's Johnson running left. Waits for the hole, gets across the 40. Did a good job just to get positive yardage on that one, as it didn't seem there was much there.
Yeah, a couple Tiger players in the backfield really too, and just Johnson able to elude them to get those 2 positive yards that he was able to tally on the first down run.
So 2nd and 8 from the 40. First possession of the second half for the Stags. As we mentioned, they put one in the end zone with 34 seconds to play in the first half to cut this down to a 3-point game. Cozart to throw. Parmalee dropped it. He had it. He was right about at the sticks, so that would have been a first down. Baird on the coverage. He's been in man coverage with Parmalee most of the night. And the senior Parmalee ran a good route there. Throw was a little bit low, but I think Trey Parmalee certainly thinks that's one he should have pulled in. And instead of a first down, it'll be 3rd and long for the Stags from the 40. Two wide receivers to each side. Cozart in the shotgun with Johnson off his left hip. Looking to throw right side, looking for Parmalee, overthrows him. It was nearly intercepted. That was Baird from the right corner position. Also in the neighborhood, Matt Floyd. And it's a 3 and out for the Stags to start the second half. Gray on to punt. This is the direction where we saw Gray really struggle in the first quarter, punting the ball. This one a low liner down the left side, and it'll be spotted just inside the 30, I believe. Right at the 30-yard line. So 30-yard kick, and the second possession of the second half for the Tigers will begin there. The Kansas City Command powering the 810varsity.com Top 25. Season tickets for the 2012 Arena Football League season at Sprint Center are now on sale. Call 855-KC-ARENA. First and 10 Blue Valley with a 3-point lead, 8:35 to play in the third quarter. The familiar tandem of Zimmerman and Fulks in the backfield. First down run for Fulks, right side, powering forward. Gets a couple yards out to the 32. Shamit and Ivy in on the tackle.
A little intriguing here that Blue Valley has went to their bread and butter from the season, that is the running the ball, but they haven't really aired it out yet. Just a heavy dose of Fulks thus far here in this second half.
They've run 5 plays from scrimmage in the second half. 4 of them were runs by Fulks. 1 was a sack, and now Zimmerman keeping it himself here. Gets near the sticks. We'll see if it's... They're going to spot it at the 39. So Novak stops Zimmerman just looks like a yard shy of the first down. So a gain of 7 on second down, and now third and short. It'll be Fulks. Cuts it out to the right side toward the sideline, and he'll have first down yardage there. So Fulks, there wasn't too much coming off right tackle, but he kicked it to the outside and easily got first down yardage out to the 45.
Yeah, it just looked like the Stags defense obviously anticipating the straight up the gut run, and Fulks noticing that, so he bounces it out to the left and able to get the first down.
Gain of 6 on the play. Over 100 yards rushing now for Fulks. 17 carries. And this time Zimmerman, maybe a little bit of confusion in the backfield, and Zimmerman's wrapped up as he gets back to the line of scrimmage. Smith on the stop, and I believe that's no gain on the play there. Maybe picked up a length of the football as it's now across the 45-yard line. But officially no gain. 6:45 to play here in the third quarter. Second and 10 for the Tigers, who lead 17-14. The winner heading to the state semifinals next Friday. Design pass to Fulks out of the backfield across midfield and to about the 47 of the Stags. And that'll bring up third and short. Fulks not known as much of a threat out of the backfield catching the ball, I don't believe, Mike, from what I've seen throughout the year, but that one was designed to go to him.
Yeah, in the regular season, Fulks only had 17 receptions, so definitely not a guy that catches a lot of passes out of the backfield, just usually pounds the ball.
But a gain of 8 there sets up a third and short. Zimmerman keeps it himself and has first down yardage across the 45, then tossed down at the 42. So a gain of 5 yards. Zimmerman now with just shy of 50 yards rushing. The biggest chunk of that came on a fourth down run that got them on the doorstep of the goal line, but he fumbled it into the end zone and turned it over to the Stags. But he moves the chains here, and it's first and 10 from the 41. 2 wide receivers right. They'll keep it on the ground with Fulks. Head down, runs right into the line. Nowhere to go there. Smith and Ivy in on the tackle. And a gain, we'll call it a gain of 2 for Fulks. And now an official timeout. Looks like Fulks may have had his chin strap knocked loose. Little equipment malfunction, and now they'll wind the clock again at 5:15 of the third quarter. 17-14. Tigers on top. Second and 8 just inside the 40. Zimmerman fakes the handoff. Now throwing deep right side, looking for Skaggs. Defended by Jack Wirtz, number 35. Skaggs, the intended receiver. That one kind of up for grabs. And it'll be third and long.
Wirt's a guy that has been working very hard on the defensive end for the Stags. He didn't play a lot as a starter or anything in the first part of the season, but has been able to get a lot more snaps as the season went on, and he's made some big plays.
Yeah, it looked like Skaggs may have had a little bit of separation there, but the throw from Zimmerman maybe a little bit underthrown. 3rd and 8 from the 39. Zimmerman over the middle has his man Rinkmeyer to the 25-yard line. Rinkmeyer with his second reception and a big one at that, gaining 14 yards and a big Blue Valley first down. Johnson in on the tackle, but the big tight end was open in the middle of the field down the seam. And the Tigers back in business. 4:40 to play here in the third quarter. 17-14, Blue Valley on top. And now back to Justin Folks. Not much there on the left side as Brad Ivy again got some penetration. Smith also there to help finish him off after a gain of 2 yards. Ball at the 23-yard line. 3 wide receivers for Zimmerman with Folks behind him again. To throw. A little bit behind Folks. Again, it was designed to go right to him. That one kind of ended up on the senior tailback's left hip. Kind of a difficult catch to make there. And so it'll be 3rd and long again. So less than 2 receptions average by Folks per game this season. And on this drive, we've seen him clearly targeted twice out of the backfield. But that one thrown behind him to create this 3rd and long situation as the Stags faithful make some noise again. Zimmerman will throw on 3rd and long. Looking left. And he overthrows his man. That one intended for Austin Katsoulis. Mahoney on the coverage. And it's 4th and 8 now. This would be a long field goal attempt. You mentioned the relatively thin stat line for the kicking game for the Tigers throughout the year, and it looks like they'll take their chances on 4th and 8 from the 23.
Yeah, both of Johnson's field goals that he's made actually coming against the Stags, but they've both been in the 20-yard range. So
yeah, this one would be a full 40-yarder if he were to try it. Instead, the offense stays on the field. Zimmerman to throw. Pressure in the backfield. He's hit. Stays on his feet and has his man at the 10-yard line. First down. What a play by Zimmerman to stay on his feet and find the open man. Mikey Henson with his second catch of the game. And what a big one that one was to pick up 13 yards. And a Tigers first down.
Some poise there by the senior quarterback, Kyle Zimmerman. I mean, he had 2 Stags on top of him, able to still keep his composure and plant his foot and fire it down the middle.
It looked like he was going down with, I think Ivy had his hands around his legs. But Zimmerman, the senior, wiggles free, and a big completion there. The ball right on the 10-yard line, so it's 1st and goal, Tigers. 3:25 to play here in the third quarter. The motion man is Foster. Zimmerman to throw, again under pressure. Gets a couple yards to the left before he's tackled out of bounds. Shondell on the tackle. Gain of 3 on the rush by Zimmerman. Again, we're seeing some good penetration into the backfield by the Stags' front 7. But a couple of big conversions. A 3rd and long pass to Rinkmeyer, and the 4th down completion to Henson to keep this drive alive. Tigers looking to stretch this lead. 3:10 to play here in the third quarter. Right now on top 17-14. Fulks, right side. There's some room there. Fulks to the goal line. Did he get in? Touchdown, Blue Valley. That hole opened up pretty good, we could see from this angle. I didn't know that Fulks was able to stretch and get it across to break the plane. But the far line judge signals touchdown, the second of the game for Fulks. And Johnson's extra point can make it a 10-point game once again. The kick is good. And with 3 minutes and 3 seconds to play in the third quarter, it's Blue Valley 24, Bishop Miege 14. If you're going to trust the roof over your head, you need to trust your roofing company. With Christian Brothers Roofing Company, you get years of experience and integrity. Don't wait until you know there's a problem. Contact us for a complimentary 16-point roof and gutter inspection at Christian Brothers Roofing, 816-453-ROOF or at 453roof.com.
There was a heavy dosage of running back Justin Fulks, obviously, on that offensive drive there for Blue Valley. But the key play, obviously, the third down, that Kyle Zimmerman looked like he was going to get sacked by Brad Ivy and a little bit of a few other Stags in there causing some havoc in the backfield. But it's Zimmerman showing poise, able to fire it down for a first down.
A couple of very, very big completions indeed. And also, Fulks already 8 carries here in this second half. 20 for the game. And another touchback from Austin Johnson. McKinley Johnson on the receiving end of that, smacking his hands together. He wants to have a chance at a return, but so far not so for him. So Stags find themselves down by 10 again here late in the third quarter. And Mike, we'll see what they do here to try and get back into it, cut this back down to 1 score. Cozart with the toss to Johnson. Right side cutting back to the middle of the field. Johnson across to the 27-yard line, but a flag comes into the middle of the field where we're often left to assume it's a holding penalty as the officials discuss the infraction.
Bishop Miege can ill afford, obviously, costly penalties here, and they're down back by 10, and obviously any turnovers as well. They had that turnover that resulted in the points in the first half, and they can't have it anything like that here in the second half if they want to, still make sure this is a game going all the way to the end.
I believe that is the third holding call against the Stags offense. One thing we have seen since later in the first half, Mike, is a more concerted effort, it seems, to get the ball in the hands of Trey Parmalee. We'll see if that continues here now with the deficit at 10. There's that bunch formation with the 4 wide receivers to the right. This time, Cozart pumps that way, and now he has his man. It's Johnson out of the backfield. We're used to calling his name running the football, but Johnson down the seam has a big gainer. And just like that, they're back in front of the sticks.
That was an impressive way to use that the play that they usually, formation that they have with the 4 wide receivers. They usually throw it out to the flat. You saw McKinley Johnson stick back. Thought Cozart might fire it out there, so some of the defense stayed up on that. You also had Parmalee one-on-one on the far side, so you thought Cozart might go his way as well.
It's certainly the first time we've seen them throw that ball down the middle out of that formation. But a big gainer that was on 1st and 20. Cozart to throw again on first down. Now flushed out of the pocket. Pump fakes and now tucks it under. Good pursuit, though. Not giving up on the play. That defensive line for the Tigers collapsing in the backfield, and then Joe Rolston, number 71, senior defensive end, who tracked him down from behind. A loss of 2 on the play.
Kind of a surprise there. He didn't go to his check down, Quanzi Johnson, out to the far side flat, but, maybe Cozart was just a little too flustered and not able to get that pass. He thought he couldn't get to Johnson maybe.
He pumped that way and then decided to tuck it under. And it's 2nd and long. Ball's on the ground. I think the Tigers have it. There was some good penetration. Johnson may not have ever had a handle on that ball.
Yeah, the interesting story for the offense for the Stags has been those little handoff mishaps or the snaps as well.
And so 2 negative plays in a row after the long first down reception. And so it's 3rd and 13, ball at the 34. Cozart to throw. Pumps. Now looks deep down the left side. 2 defenders there. Johnson went up in the air to get it and got his hands on it, but he may have pushed off to create some space there. We'll see what the call is. The safety help was rolling over there from Chad Curry. And the call goes against the Tigers. It'll be an automatic first down. So McKinley Johnson, that ball being kind of up for grabs. Johnson jumped up to get it, had his hands on it. There was some contact between he and the corner, and the call goes against the defense. And that'll push the ball near midfield. It'll be spotted just shy of the 50-yard line.
Yeah, a huge call in favor of Bishop Miege. It keeps the drive alive. Chance for them to possibly get some points on the board and cut back into this lead again that Blue Valley was able to put back to 10.
There's the 4 wide receivers set to the left again. This time it goes that way to Parmalee. Trey Parmalee trying to get to the edge, just gets across midfield, maybe picked up 2 yards. Foster on the tackle. The thrill of a touchdown, the excitement of a successful pass, all combined to remind us that state football championship games are only moments away. Sponsored by the Kansas State High School Activities Association. State championship playoffs go from November 1st and conclude with the final games on November 26th. Attend the games, support your team, join the crowd during the final weeks of Kansas high school football starting November 1st. For more information, call the Kansas State High School Activities Association, 785-273-5329. Johnson, some traffic to sort through at the line of scrimmage, but gets a couple yards out of it. Just a yard on that gain to the 48-yard line. And a 3rd and 7. But that shapes up to be the last play of the 3rd quarter. Through 3 quarters of play, Blue Valley 24, Bishop Miege 14. Time to buy a new washer and dryer. Need a facelift to the kitchen? Factory Direct Appliance has 5 locations around the Kansas City area, including Northland at 152 Highway in North Oak. Special financing available by Factory Direct. And save at Factory Direct Appliance. Call 816-468-8344 or visit kcfda.com.
Only 1 score, a little bit more defense shown here in this second half. It's been switched, I guess, from the first game. A little bit of defense in that first half. It was 7-3 going into halftime between these 2 squads in the regular season matchup. But going into halftime here was 17-14, field goal lead by the Tigers. And now the Tigers able to punch in another touchdown here in this second half to increase that lead back to 10.
And it'll be a big play here to start the 4th quarter on 3rd and 7. Stags trailing by 10. Trying to answer the Tigers' touchdown, which spread the lead back to double digits. Now you can live the dream. Learning to fly with Air Associates can be one of the most exciting, rewarding, and challenging activities you'll ever experience. You'll have the most fun you've ever had. Their special flight packages will make your training even more affordable. Visit their website at takeoffkc.com. 3rd and 7 from the 48 as we start the fourth quarter. Blue Valley 24, Bishop Miege 14. Cozart looking to throw, under pressure, setting up a screen. Johnson sidesteps one man to the 45, can't get any further. Stacked up just as he got to the 45-yard line. Really lucky to get any positive yardage out of that play, as it was very well defended by the Tigers defense. So 4th and 6, a big stand by the Blue Valley defense, and Gray on to punt. And hope the Stags defense can get the ball back. Bounces at the 10, and the Stags can't keep it out of the end zone. So a 47-yard punt, but a net of only 27. And it'll be Tigers football at the 20-yard line. So you got to think with a 10-point lead here in the final quarter, Mike, we might see what we saw to start this second half, which is hand off to Folks and let the senior tailback carry them to the state semifinals.
Yeah, it's going to be a heavy dosage of the running back Folks. I mean, you got to think that they want to work the clock, as you said, Steve. The Tigers do, and they were running the ball effectively here, too. So you know they're going to stick with that.
20 carries, 121 yards by my unofficial tally for the senior Justin Folks. He gets it here to start the drive, but he's stacked up as he hits the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. Estrada with the tackle. And it's 2nd and long. Ball at the 20-yard line. Zimmerman to throw. Laser to the 30-yard line. That'll be good to move the chains. Skaggs ran that route right to the first down marker, and they'll spot it at the 30, and that'll be good for a Tigers first down. Hadn't called Skaggs' name in a while, with the exception of a deep ball that was batted down, thrown his direction back in the third quarter. At his 5th catch. And he's over 100 yards, including that long touchdown that started the scoring back in the first quarter. .10-13 and counting to play here in the fourth quarter. They'll keep it on the ground. Folks with a good move to get to the outside. A nice tackle by McKinley Johnson to limit the damage there. Check that, it was Parmalee on the tackle. Gain of 7, but it could have been more. $5 footlong subs are back at Mr. Good Sense. 7 great subs to choose from. Come see what fresh really is at Mr. Good Sense. So 2nd and 3 from the 37. Now under 10 minutes to play in the ball game. The Tigers with the ball and a 10-point lead. Not much room there for Folks as he gets maybe a yard. Give him 2 out to the 39. Ivy and Shamit on the tackle. Check that, they'll spot it at the 38, so just a yard for the senior Justin Folks. And a big 3rd down here. 3rd and 2. They need to get just beyond the 40-yard line to move the chains. Zimmerman's going to keep it himself, and he has the first down to the 41. He faked it to Folks heading to the right, and Zimmerman tucked it under and went off left guard. Gained 3 yards and a very big first down Ball across the 41 now. We're under 9 minutes to play in the game. Tigers with a 2-score advantage, looking to beat the Stags for the 4th time in a row. Two wide receivers to the left, Zimmerman and Fulks behind him. It goes to Justin Fulks, who dives forward across the 45. Good first down run there to the 47. Gain of 5 for Fulks, who suddenly is nearing that 30 carry mark, Mike.
He had the 31 carries in the first matchup and went over 260 yards, and well on his way to get a heavy dosage here tonight as well.
They'll keep it on the ground with him again. Forced to the outside. Good pursuit by the defense. Novak and Orick got the push into the backfield and stretched that play out. Estrada as well. It's a loss of a couple. Back to the 45. And 3rd and 7. With a 10-point lead here nearing the halfway point of the 4th quarter. What a big conversion this would be. We saw that last drive, that touchdown scoring drive late in the 3rd quarter with some big 3rd down conversions. Zimmerman did it with his feet on the last 3rd and short. This time he'll throw it. Fulks makes one man miss. Can't get past the next, but there may be a face mask penalty in there. It looked like Fulks may have had his helmet raked across the front as he made the first man miss. He was stopped at the 49-yard line, which would be 3 yards short of the first down. But I believe they're going to tack on some yardage here. And that is indeed the case. And it was clear that the Stags defender just kind of got his hand caught in the wrong spot. A tough break there as he went high on the tackle on the quick step by Fulks. And the penalty gives them a huge first down as we go under 7 minutes to play in the ball game. 24-14, Tigers on top.
Chance for the Blue Valley Tigers to chip away more clock here.
Zimmerman keeps it this time, and he's got space up the middle to the 35-yard line. First down, Kyle Zimmerman, and Tigers moving the ball now. Really looking to deflate the home team here on this drive. Thinking about buying or selling a home? If you are, I know about 6,000 agents who'd like to charge you way too much, or you can call your friends over at Realty 1.5. If you want Red 7 hot route service and want to save thousands of dollars, give them a call at 913-302-7886. Again, 302-7886. 1st and 10 from the 35. Zimmerman hands to Fulks. Not much room, but the clock will keep moving with 6:22 and counting. Tigers with a 10-point lead. Stags just trying to get off the field defensively. Shondell credited with the tackle. No gain on the play. So 2nd and 10, but we go under the halfway mark of this 4th quarter. And the Stags need to stop in a hurry. Tigers taking their time. 3 wide receivers to the right. Fulks in the backfield behind Zimmerman. You got to think they'll just continue to keep it on the ground. And before this 2nd down snap, it's a Blue Valley timeout.
Yeah, Steve, you're talking about how this could be potentially crippling for Bishop Miege. I mean, if they're able to punch one in for the Tigers into the end zone, it's going to be a 17-point lead, and Bishop Miege would have to strike quick and be able to get the ball back quickly after that to try to get back into it. You want to hold them to a minimum of a field goal. Obviously, you don't want to give up any points, but a field goal would only be 2 scores down, 13 points. So you wouldn't be fully out of it. If you could hold them to that field goal, it would be a win for Bishop Miege. Obviously, you want to hold them to nothing, but field goal if you have to give up some points.
They do certainly have that big play, quick strike ability, but they've also shown some difficulty in keeping the Tigers off the field, and especially these last 2 Blue Valley drives. We've seen some big third down conversions. There was the big fourth down conversion on the 4th and 8 play where Zimmerman wiggled free and found his receiver, Mikey Henson. And that play looms large right now as it kept the drive alive, eventually being capped by the 7-yard Folks touchdown run. That was our last score of the game at the 3:03 mark of the third quarter. And here we are now at 5:46 to play. 2nd and 10 for the Tigers, leading 24-10. Folks with the handoff, hit immediately in the backfield. I believe that's Richard Smith from the right defensive end spot. Folks with nowhere to go there. A loss of 3, and that'll bring up a 3rd and long.
It's going to be a make-or-break play here for Bishop Miege on the defensive end.
Absolutely need a stop here, and you got to wonder maybe if it's not too early, if they get a stop here to use one of their 3 timeouts to preserve some clock to try and make up this 2-score deficit. Zimmerman's going to throw on 3rd down. Pulls it down. Now he's throwing deep down the right side. And did he bring it down? No, it's out of bounds. Rinkmeyer went up for it. There was another receiver in the area as well. Porter, I believe, was also the second receiver down there. But the pass incomplete, and they don't even have to worry about preserving time with the timeout because the incomplete pass stops the clock at 4:56.
Yeah, so the Stags are going to get the ball back. Got just under 5 minutes here. We've got to be able to come up with an effective offensive drive.
High snap. Perkins brings it down and gets the kick away. It bounces at the 10 and into the end zone. Past McKinley Johnson. That took such a sharp hop that it almost hit Johnson. But it'll be 1st and 10 from the 20. The Tigers kind of avoiding a real disaster there as Perkins had to leave his feet to get that snap up over his head. But he got it off. And
Nick and Jake's. Nick and Jake's Real Food, Honest Drink. Nick and Jake's, the proud title sponsor of 810varsity.com. Check out our promotions throughout the season on Facebook or Twitter at Nick and Jake's.
Well, here we go, Mike. Under 5 minutes to play. And it's make or break time here for the Stags, needing 2 scores. Kozart to throw on 1st down. Stepping up over the middle. Johnson with the catch at the 30, but a flag came in. Again in the neighborhood of holding. That was a gain of 10, but I believe the Stags are going to be pushed back one more time. Another hold against Miege. And so it'll be 1st and 20 with the ball back spotted at the 10-yard line.
Yeah, definitely not what you want if you're Bishop Miege. Obviously, you just wasted about a good 5 seconds on the clock, and you're moving backwards, so you've got more ground to cover in less time.
Kozart with 5 wide receivers, 3 to the right, 2 to his left. Out of the shotgun. Evading pressure, now looking to throw across his body. Parmalee can't pull it down. He was by himself at about the 20-yard line. Even if he were to pull that in, he wouldn't have had anywhere else to go with it because he was heading to the ground. A dangerous pass across the middle of the field, but Parmalee was all alone, and it falls harmlessly incomplete.
Yeah, Kozart was pressured into the end zone. He threw across his body, moving in the opposite direction of where he was trying to throw. So definitely had to put a little bit more mustard behind that one than he maybe wanted to, and led his receiver Parmalee a little bit too much, and Parmalee couldn't track it down.
Jackson Tupper, senior linebacker, was the one who brought the pressure from the weak side. Kozart to throw now on 2nd and long. Into the flat. has his man across the 10 to about the 14-yard line. Modest gain, and the clock will run. I believe that was Novak on the reception. But the gain is only out to the 13-yard line, so third and very long with the clock running as we approach 4 minutes to play. Blue Valley 24, Bishop Miege 14. The winner heading to the state semifinals next week. 4 wide receivers to the right in that bunch formation again that we've seen so many times. We'll see what they throw out of here. Cozart throwing deep right side. His man goes up and gets it. Is it Parmalee? I believe that's Trey Parmalee who went up and made a great play over his man across midfield. They'll spot it inside the 45 to the 43-yard line. And a big gain, and that's just what they needed, Mike.
Yeah, biggest throw of the game probably by Montel Cozart right there. Hooking up to his main go-to guy that he trusts, obviously, in Trey Parmalee. And he obviously needed to trust him a lot to convert that big third down.
A gain of 44 on the play. And now on 1st and 10, Cozart pressured from the right side. Gets it off, though, complete across the 35-yard line. And then a big hit out of bounds. I believe it was Johnson on the catch. Yes, Kwanzi Johnson with the catch. He got to the 35 for a gain of 8. Good job by Cozart just to get that pass off as he was facing some pressure. Kind of threw it off of 1 foot.
Yeah, that play looked like the third down conversion from Kyle Zimmerman on the opposite side for Blue Valley West. I mean, Cozart had a guy on his feet right there trying to bring him down, and he just fires it cross field to Johnson and gets about 9 yards.
So clock stopped after the tackle out of bounds. 3:26 to play. 2nd and 2. Ball at the 35. A bunch formation with the 4 wide receivers to the left. Cozart barking at his linemen. And a delay of game penalty. So those last couple of words that Cozart barked at his line are going to cost him 5 yards. So the Stags by far the more penalized of the two teams. And what we talked about at the outset, Mike, it may come down to mistakes. And we've seen certainly more negative plays from the Stags offense, and that includes everything from holding penalties to we saw some bad snaps and bad exchanges early on. And this is not the time for the Stags offense to step on their own feet. 2nd and 7 from the 40. Cozart to throw. Now stepping up. Got some space to the left side. Has a block from Novak. Gets across the 35. He's going to be close to first down yardage. We'll have to see where that's spotted. It's going to be close. They're already moving the chains. They'll spot it at the 31. So a gain of 9 for Cozart. 1st and 10. Novak out on the edge. Held a block there for just long enough for Cozart to get around and get the much-needed first down yardage. And now a fresh set of downs with 3:19 to play. Stags trailing by 10. The formation shifts this time with the 4 wide receivers to the right. McKinley Johnson, the lone receiver, to the left. Cozart fakes the designed run, now lofts it toward McKinley Johnson, who goes down. The Stags coaching staff really letting the officials have it. Johnson was covered by Ryan McNerlin, and it looked like Johnson was maybe trying to get up to time his jump and lost his footing and kind of fell into his man. From this angle, it certainly looked like a good no call, Mike.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, you maybe had a case, but you can't live and die by trying to get penalties. You got to actually try to convert on the pass.
.3:15 to play in the 4th quarter. Blue Valley with a 10-point lead, but the Stags threatening. 2nd and 10 from the 31. Cozart again fakes a dive and again throws it to Johnson. This time McKinley Johnson pulls it down inside the 5, 1st and goal. Exact same play as the last one. Again, it was Johnson and McNerlin. This time Johnson kept his footing, went up and got it. Gain of 28 yards, and it's 1st and goal. Up the middle, touchdown, Stags. Cozart kept it himself. A 3-yard touchdown with 3:07 to play. And with Carter's extra point, this could be down to a 3-point game. So the big completion to Johnson sets up Cozart's 3-yard touchdown run. Carter's extra point is up and good. 24-21. Does that sound familiar, Mike?
Just a tad bit. Obviously, that was the final in the regular season, and Austin Johnson getting a field goal in the first half of that game. He got the field goal in the first half of this game. Maybe a different outcome here. Obviously, Blue Valley is going to have the ball here. They want to work some clock. They have the 3-point advantage, but 3 minutes left in this game. Nice methodical drive there by Bishop Miege to punch it in. And had some key third down plays. McKinley Johnson with that reception there to get to the 2-yard line. You know, Cozart with some decent runs as well on that one.
And the big play on the 40-plus yard pass to Parmalee on 3rd and very long after the holding penalty had pushed them back inside the 10-yard line. So 3:07 left, all 3 timeouts left for the Stags as well.
Whether your goal is to lose weight, bulk up, or just find a drink that's good for you, Smoothie King has a smoothie for you. Along with our great tasting smoothies, don't forget about Smoothie King's selection of the most popular vitamins, sports supplements, dietary aids, low-fat snacks, and energy bars. For more information, visit one of our Smoothie King nutritional lifestyle centers at smoothieking.com.
And we'll see what the Stags decide to do here. If they just kick it deep and rely on the defense, they're certainly lining up as if it's going to be an onside kick attempt. At least that's the way they're positioned now. Here it comes. Bouncing toward midfield, up in the air for grabs, but it looks like it goes out of bounds. Untouched. That one was kind of a flat kick. Didn't get that big hop until the end, and that's kind of what you look for.
Yeah, it just went in the opposite direction, obviously, not staying in field to where Bishop Miege can come up with it. So it's going to give pretty decent field position here for Blue Valley, and obviously they have the 3-point advantage, so they'll want to work as much clock as possible. They were able to move the ball fairly good on their last offensive drive, just stalled out at the end.
And so they'll start the drive at the 47-yard line. 24-21, Blue Valley with the ball and the lead. And this is when you like to have a 1,500-plus yard rusher, a senior in the backfield with you. It goes to Fulks. Not much room on the left side. No gain. He may have lost a yard. Smith was there. Novak was in the backfield. And it'll be 2nd and 11. Estrada credited for the tackle as well. Coach Grunhard not electing to use a timeout yet. So with the play clock at 17, they don't have to snap this until about the 2:20 mark. They'll need to get to the Stags 43 for a first down. Fulks up the middle. Good gain there as he gets across midfield to the 48. He got 6. And now the Stags take their first timeout with 2:24 to play, trailing by a field goal and an enormous third down facing its defense now.
Yeah, Miege has kind of struggled on the third down plays of letting Blue Valley convert a few of here in this second half. They've been able to move the ball more methodically on the offensive drives, has the Tigers, and Bishop Miege hasn't really been able to get any 3-and-outs or anything like remotely close to that thus far in this second half. But we'll wait and see if they can come up with a huge play here on the third down this time.
We've seen a third down conversion this half in which they've decided to keep the ball in the hands of the quarterback. Do you think they do anything other than hand it to Folks here, or do you think you give Zimmerman perhaps an option to run it on his own?
That's a good question. Zimmerman has the capability. He's shown to run it up the middle himself and get a few yards, but I think you got to stick with your bruising running back in Folks, and he's been able to get big chunks here in this second half still, so you got to think that they might go with them, or maybe a play action out of the backfield to a quick pass by Zimmerman.
And if with a play action, they could also give a run-pass option. Instead, it goes right in the belly of Folks, stacked up at the line of scrimmage, and the Stags get the stop that they need. The familiar names being called in there: Estrada, Smith, come up big. Stags use their second timeout. They give Folks a gain of a yard, but it's 4th and 4, and the Tigers will have to punt. So 2:20 to play. The Stags presumably getting it off the punt, and they'll have one timeout and really plenty of time with which to move the ball up the field, keeping in mind that they need just 3 to tie.
And they will have quite a bit of field to work with, though. I mean, they're going to have to start from probably a minimum of their own 20-yard line if it's a touchback on the punt, but it could be even more yards to gain to try to get the win with a touchdown or a tie with the field goal.
In the regular season, Colin Carter, 3 of 4 in field goal attempts with a long of 36, which would mean they'd need to get just inside the 20-yard line. So, to your point, perhaps starting at their own 20, the Stags would have to drive 60 yards in 2 minutes to enter that range. Tristan Perkins on to punt. The last time he blasted one away, he had to leave his feet to jump up and field the high snap. This time it's face high, and he punts it straight in the air. Stags moving out of the way. It bounces just outside the 30. And how about that? It bounces backward to the 32-yard line. So just a 16-yard punt. Check that, a 14-yard punt for Perkins. And that field position looks a lot better now.
Indeed it does. I mean, obviously you still got a lot of field to go, but you've got plenty of time, a little over 2 minutes here. You got a timeout. And you've got receivers that can work down those seams, on the sideline. So Cozart's been able to find a few of those guys on the last few offensive drives. And we'll see what the Stags coaching staff and the offense can draw up here on this offensive series.
So the drive begins at the 2:07 mark of the fourth quarter. Season on the line. Stags with one timeout. And they probably need about 50 yards, 45, 50 yards to get in reasonable field goal range for Colin Carter. Though the home team and the home crowd would love to see them go the length of the field. Instead, they'll go for a big chunk on first down. A fluttering pass to Parmalee. Did he pull it in? It's a complete pass to the 34-yard line. Parmalee jumped up, had his hands on it, and pulled it in as he fell to the ground at the 33. A huge play on first down.
Magnificent catch there by Trey Parmalee. Composure to watch that float into his hands. He had a great vertical leap and jumping over his defender who was right in front, who had a good position. He was not out of in bad position to play that ball. Parmalee just wanted it more, it seemed like, and came down with it.
Gain of 35 on first down, and it's suddenly within just a pressure from the right side. Cozart hit as he throws, Is that a loose ball? They're calling it an incomplete pass. Cozart flattened. I believe it was Foster from the left side who had the pressure and hit Cozart. So that one certainly at game speed looked like it could go either way, whether his arm was moving forward. But it's an incomplete pass. 1:37 to play, 2nd and 10. So I mentioned that they needed probably 50-plus yards, or maybe in the neighborhood of 50 yards to get into field goal range. They got 35 of it in one chunk very quickly. 3 wide receivers to the right, Johnson in the backfield. He wants it all again. Deep right side, into double coverage. It's knocked down, incomplete. Baird was there. And Cole Combs coming over from his safety spot.
Yeah, Timmy Mahoney, the intended receiver by that Cozart pass. Mahoney, not a typical target for a lot of passes for Cozart on the night, but he does come up with some big plays usually.
So ball at the 33, 3rd and 10. If nothing else, you think they certainly would like to pick up a few yards to make it a 4th and manageable situation. We'll see what the call is here. I formation with Quanzi Johnson, the deep back. Cozart looking right, wrapped up, and he goes down at the 42. Sack and a loss of 9. A flag is down on the right side of the field, however. The far side judge threw a flag, and now some discussion here. The flag came a long ways away from the action. It's a procedure penalty against the offense. If there's illegal formation, not sure. But a big play by the Tigers defense there. The penalty is declined. Cozart's forward progress, if you can call it that, considering he was never really going forward. The mark it at the 40. So I thought he might try. I thought that might have been a designed quarterback run there, Mike. But he was stepping up to try and throw the ball. Got hit in a loss of, well, a loss of 7. They'll need to get to the 23. And I believe that was a Blue Valley timeout before this 4th down play.
Yeah, and on the 3rd down, you're obviously going to go for it on 4th if you don't convert. So you can come up with maybe a run play like you were talking about, design quarterback run with Cozart or something, to get a few of those yards to make it a more of a manageable play to get the 1st down. Now, with the sack, you're going to have to get it all, and obviously going to have to come through the air. I mean, you've got to get a good chunk, about 14 yards, I believe, to get this 1st down, to keep this offensive drive going, and potentially come away with the game-tying score or maybe the game winner if they can convert on this 4th down for Bishop Miege.
An update from other 5A action. Gardner Edgerton in control late, 32-0. So the Trailblazers appear to certainly be awaiting the winner here. And we could be one snap away here from answering the question of who their opponent might be. 4th and 17 from the 40. Stags need to get to the 23 to keep their season alive. Cozart, shotgun formation, looking over the middle. Johnson, it's going to be close. We'll have to see where he's spotted. It is going to be very close.
Yeah, eyeballs view looks like a 1st down, but they're going to have to measure probably.
And they're calling for a measurement. It looks like he might be. It's right in the middle of the field, but it looks like it's spotted just inside the 24. And it looks like it's going to be a little bit short.
Yeah, second look. I thought originally it would get it, but second look, it might be short. And
it is short on 4th and 17. The pass to McKinley Johnson is good for 16.5 yards. And with 1:17 to play, the ball is turned back over to the Tigers. Stags with just one timeout. So the defending state champs will just have to snap it a couple more times. And it looks like we're destined for a rematch of another 5A playoff game from last year with Blue Valley against Gardner-Edgerton.
Definitely a valiant effort, though, by Bishop Miege to try to make another comeback against these Blue Valley Tigers, falling a yard or inches short. I mean, not even looked like a full yard on that one.
Yeah, I didn't see how far it was, but you could see as they got that last stretch of the chain, the Tigers defense, who had been gathered around the officials at the middle of the field, erupted, knowing that they'd gotten the fourth down stop, and the Stags used their last timeout with 1:08 left. So we definitely got the drama we thought we might get. The Stags twice trailing by 10 points tonight, and on each occasion getting a touchdown to get back within a field goal. They got the late touchdown here with 3:07 to play on Cozart's 3-yard touchdown run. Failed on the onside kick attempt, but got the 3 and out that they needed, and then got the big play to get into Tigers territory. But again, after a couple of incomplete passes, we saw, again, getting bit by a negative play, with Cozart getting wrapped up and sacked in the backfield, creating that 4th and very long. And they came up just short. The second down, kneel down by Zimmerman, will take us under a minute to play. Again, the Stags cannot stop the clock. The referee's whistle starts the play clock at 54 seconds.
Who would have thought this game would come down to the same score as the regular season game, and it almost, if you look at it, just a little bit spread out differently, the same type of circumstances with the key players.
Yep, it was all Folks in the second half. And Blue Valley uses its second timeout before running the third down play. 29.1 seconds left. So on this snap, they may take a couple of extra seconds to run back into the backfield before the kneel down to get the game clock under 25 seconds, therefore ensuring that they don't have to snap the ball on fourth down. The Tigers' leaders, Zimmerman and Folks, kind of smack each other on the helmet there with their arms around each other before this third down snap, knowing that they're less than 30 seconds away from another victory. Zimmerman goes right to his knee. Clock goes under 25 seconds before the referee's whistle. So that'll do it. The final seconds tick away. And the Tigers, for the second straight year, have eliminated the Bishop Miege Stags, and for the second time this year, they do it by the score of 24-21. So Mike Folks got over the 30 carry mark again and really was the go-to guy in that second half and keeping the ball away from Miege, but it was really those third down and fourth down pass conversions by Zimmerman on their lone touchdown drive of the second half that made the difference.
Yeah, what got me in the game is in the first half, the pass-to-run ratio was about even, it seemed like, for the Blue Valley Tigers, which probably wasn't what head coach Tim Grunhard and the Stags expected. They obviously expected the heavy dose of Justin Folks, but Kyle Zimmerman, a great performance for the Blue Valley Tigers. I mean, he had some great passes in that first half to be able to get the Tigers on the board first and make sure that they didn't give up that lead, and ultimately moving on to the semifinals in 5A.
And they will face the Gardner-Edgerton Trailblazers next Friday night. And you have to think that the Tigers will be favored to move on to the state title game again. So once again, our final 24-21, Blue Valley defeats Bishop Miege. Make sure 810varsity.com is your central hub for the playoffs. At Playoff Central, get live playoff brackets updated in real time, and of course live scores and more. Your source for the playoffs, 810varsity.com. And be sure to get ready for the new revamped 810varsity.com for basketball and wrestling. Kansas City's new source for high school sports, 810varsity.com.